Hey guys, I'm Morthadon, and do you recognize me? Huh? I got a haircut. Yes, I did. And also, I forgot to say, we're here for My Hero Academia, Season 4, Episode 9. So, yeah, like I said, got a haircut, just so I'm sure you guys recognize me. But, yep, this is just, I'm sure you guys, if you've been watching my other videos long enough, I don't know if I've had a haircut since I started the actual reactions to My Hero. I forget, but I basically do this, I let it grow out very long, not very long, but to the point where you saw me in the previous videos, and then I cut it back to this point and rinse repeat. But yeah, that's the first order of business out of the way. Just want to mention that. And then also, second order of business, a little story from my personal life that I thought I'd share from you because I'm kind of, it's not even a big deal, but I'm a little proud of myself and I'm very happy for my sister. So, story short, I still live with my parents, and we actually live in the woods on a 4.5 acre land. I guess like it used to be a farm, and we used to have like horses and chickens and all that, and we don't have any of that anymore. So my sister renovated the barn, and she lives next door in a barn that was turned into like an apartment kind of thing, more like a small house sort of thing. But um, she lost her cat about a month ago. It got out, and usually, we have coyotes around here, we have bears around here. So usually, when one of our cats has gotten out, we never see it again. It's happened before. We usually try to keep them indoor, but sometimes they just bolt between your legs when you open the door. It really sucks. But it was gone for about a month, and I went out today to go out into our garage to put my clothes into the dryer, so that way I could have some. I needed some clean clothes, so I could shower and do this recording for you guys. And I saw a cat, and I knew that she lost her cat a while ago because I was outside when they were, all looking around for it and everything. And I heard like, people talking about it and stuff. I was like, I wonder if she ever found it. I came back inside real quick because I didn't want to scare it more. It's not familiar with me. It has no idea who I am. So the second I saw it, it started walking out of the garage. I walked back in the house and I yelled up to my mom. I'm like, Mom! I'm like, there's a cat in the garage. Is Ashley still missing? And she's like, yes, call her now. So I called my sister, and they came out looking for her. They couldn't find her, or him. They couldn't find him again. So they set out. They've had this trap which they've tried before. It's like a big cage that has like a pressure thing that shuts the cage when something walks on it, and they put cat food in there with some blankets and stuff like that to keep it warm. So it can like try to cuddle in them or something if it gets in them overnight and stuff. Because I live in the area where we get winter, we get snowstorms and everything, and she set that out, and while she was setting it, she saw the cat run into one of our sheds. So she ran up and shut the door, locking it in, and then they managed to sneak in there and get it in a kennel and got it back. This cat lived outside, possibly living in that shed the whole time, except to come out to get food. But in the winter, we had a massive snowstorm where we got like a foot of snow and still lived through all of that. We had a couple other snowstorms after that. It managed to survive the whole time and is now safe at home. So, apologies for such a long story. I'm sure some of you may have skipped it. I was just kind of proud of myself for seeing the cat, even though it was all lucky for me. But I managed to, contact my sister, and she got her cat back, and I'm very happy about that. So I just thought I'd share a happy story from my personal life, because, this is My Hero Academia. This is typically a happy show, except for kind of what we're in right now. But, that's probably the closest I'll ever be to being a hero. So, I don't know. I just wanted to share it. But second order of business, or technically third if you count the haircut as the first one, I want to talk real quickly, since I told that story about last episode. We had the big Sun Eater fight. I don't really have much to say about the recap portion of my reaction, but I will say I missed something, and I did roast the episode a tiny bit. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved it, but I felt like there was a lot of subtitles, a lot of reading, a lot of stuff going on when I thought I should be more focused on the fighting. I felt I spent a lot of time reading. But one thing I completely missed that like brought this whole story together, I also complained about a little too many flashbacks, but I think it was because I didn't understand them. And after watching the English dub from another reactor that I like watching, he watched the dub, so I got to experience it in the dub as well. And I completely missed that Sun Eater's name, which is something they stress heavily in the dub. But I felt like even rewatching to edit, it still didn't click for me. That Sun Eater's name comes from the fact, his childhood friend Mirio, he always called the sun, and he's the Sun Eater. He's the one that, absorbs the light that Mirio outputs, and stuff like that. I'm sure there's a lot more deeper ways you can take that name, but I deeply apologize for missing that, and I think that would have changed my entire perspective of the episode if I was able to catch on with that. But I was so interested in the combat going on, I didn't put those connections together with the various little backstory plots that were thrown at us. It's definitely there, even in the subtitles. I'm just not smart, I guess. So, that's all I wanted to talk about that. Apologies for this super long intro to the video, but I just wanted to tell all those little stories, catch you up on what I missed on last episode and what I was mistaken on, and now we can jump into this episode, shall we? Alrighty guys, let's do it. Okay, so like usual, down in the description is going to be a link to Vimeo. It'll bring you directly to the reaction. It's very easy, one click away, and then you can come back here to this YouTube video for the discussion portion once you're done watching that there. So go ahead and click that link right now, guys. So that is the end of episode 9, guys. Hot damn! That was a good-ass episode. So I want to give a big props for subverting tropes all the time in this show, right? Like, there's that one trope that when you show a character's backstory, it's likely they're gonna die in a show, right? And My Hero has now shown, they do this a lot in a lot of fights, and I should know by now that it doesn't mean that someone's gonna die. But they show Amajiki's backstory, Sun Eater, if I said his name wrong. And I was, worried for his death. And then also, in this episode, we got some backstory for Kirishima. The episode was titled after him, just like the last one was, for whatever. But we also got another epic episode involving Kirishima, who is, up until this point, hasn't really had any truly epic moments, of his complete own that I can think of, Even, the UA Sports Festival, he just, did an arm wrestling match after having a punch-off, and he, showed that he did pretty decent against Bakugo. He's always been in the story, but he got 2 entire episodes so close together, and when I saw that episode title, it nearly broke me because I was terrified that he was gonna die, because of the fact of that trope where, a side character gets a second awesome episode in a row? No way, he's totally dead. That was what was going through my head in that moment, and the show just subverts those expectations and just gives us so much more, that was so good. But okay. Let's talk about the episode from the beginning a bit. So, there was a lot of text, and I'm sure I missed some minor details throughout this whole thing because it was zooming along. But, so, they made it past Mimic, but Mimic realized that, that Eraserhead's quirk, I don't know, I didn't catch the full reason why, but, he had to stop Eraser's quirk. And I almost kind of want to go back, but I feel like that's too much to rewatch. So I'm not going to go back. If I see anything that I missed, I'll correct myself at the beginning of the next episode like I did in this one. But they were talking about Eraser's quirk and how Mimic would want to stop him, and that's exactly, we cut to Mimic, who was like, that guy, it's his fault or whatever. Which maybe he's attributing it, his fault, the reason why those 3 other bullets got taken down, even though it really wasn't. But, he also just realizes that the guy that can erase quirks is probably one of the most dangerous to have, And so he tried to take him out, and, Fat Gum pushed him out of the way, the real hero there, and Kirishima as well. They were all, I think everybody was running in, but Fat Gum was, just closer or made it first or whatever. Um, and got pushed down a tunnel that I'm guessing Mimic made into a room with these two other bullets, and Kirishima too, because he got absorbed. So that was cool. I'm really glad that Fat Gum wasn't alone. And I'm really glad that after that episode, I'm really glad Kirishima was the one to be down there with him. And it makes sense since he's the kid with his like work study and stuff, so they knew each other. They had a bit of a relationship already and stuff like that. So that's cool. Uh, but that guy, I missed it if they explained his quirk, the punching guy. Like, obviously, I understand the barrier guy. It's very simple. He puts up barriers, it's awesome quirk, don't get me wrong. But, I don't know if the other guy's, like, punching, is he just, like, super strength, Like, I don't know if they told us. I don't think I'd be able to see it, because so much went on, and I don't even know what part I'm looking for. If I were to do this, they just kept calling him a spear. Yeah, I don't know if we actually know what his quirk is, but either way, he's just really strong, his punches really hurt. I don't know if there's more to it other than just straight up, like, super strength, But he got those hits off on Kirishima in his super hardened mode, his unbreakable form, and pieces were just chipping off of his arms. And I actually thought that, how, like, if you watch Game of Thrones, like, the flayed men, how they, like, take all their skin off when we saw a couple of them. I thought that's what his skin was gonna look like, because that's almost what it looks like when he was in his hardened form. But, so, is he able to produce more skin and harden it? Is Kirishima's quirk capable of that? Or is he only capable of taking his current skin and hardening it? Because he said during the scene, I jumped ahead a little bit, but during like the final thing where he was tanking all the hits from the guy in the end, he said, if he breaks through my unbreakable skin, I'll just make more, or whatever he said there. Something along those lines, where he's just gonna re-harden it or keep making more. But if it's his skin doing that, if it's falling off, wouldn't he eventually run out of skin? Unless he's able to produce skin. I don't know, it's just a wild theory. Maybe he can, maybe he can't, maybe he doesn't harden all of his skin and it just takes off one layer and then he hardens the layer under it. Kind of like if you get a sunburn and it starts peeling off, maybe he can do that first layer that you're peeling off, and then when that falls off, you can do that like fresh baby skin that you have underneath it. Maybe it's something like that, where he can go down like a bunch of layers of the skin or something, as like added layers of defense essentially. But that's really interesting. I wonder if there is more to his quirk, if we're gonna find that out later, other than the obvious of what we know. But interesting. And then, so I guess, yeah, back to the part. We actually had a zoomed out shot of Kirishima, and we've seen this before, right? I want to mention that My Hero has a tendency to do this, and I'd say it's the one misleading thing about the show that I dislike a little bit. And I understand that like they need to save on animation, and I'm fine with it, but I just gotta get used to it, is the fact that sometimes they don't show damage on someone that's in the background until they zoom in on them, right? Like, if you guys remember the time that Midoriya was fighting Muscular, he blocked one of the first attack he blocked with his arm, and he got bashed into a wall. And you see him, like, hanging in there, hanging in the wall, and you see his arm, and it looks like it has, like, little scrape lines on it, but that's all you see, right? And then when he comes out of the wall and he's running, it's all twisted and mangled and messed up. But they only did that for that like one shot to show you that damage, that arm was broken. but like the previous shot made it look like he was fine. And that was kind of the same thing when Kirishima was in the background of Fat Gum. You could see him in the wall, like, starting to like try to get up a little bit, but you didn't see any of the blood. Like, he had blood all over his body after those hits, and you didn't see any of that when it was in that zoomed out thing. So don't get me wrong, I loved the episode. I love everything about this show. I just figure if I'm gonna mention one thing, it's that, Um, but other than that, he took all this damage. He had, cracks in his unbreakable skin, and blood is starting to flow out of him and everything, and that's crazy. And then he just was so defeated at the fact that, once again, he's unable to protect the people that he wants to because of this, this time when he was younger, when he was always trying to stop the bullies, and it never worked out for him, and Mina somehow did it by making them break dance with her. I don't know what that was about. I guess she just has like a cheery, happy personality. She was able to remedy the situation. Doesn't seem realistic at all with a bully. I don't think someone could just walk up to a bully and somehow make them like cheery, happy friend time, But excuse me. But yeah, that was interesting. But he saw this girl who's able to do what he wants to do. He's just unable to. It's just not working out for him. And it kind of like pushed on his confidence a bit, but it also inspired him. It didn't just like push on his confidence, but it made him want to be like her, which is really cool because Mina is a character we haven't had the most development on, and I felt like we got a little more development on her in this episode as well. But basically, she was able, this big villain came out and attacked these little high school girls looking for a hero agency, and he didn't seem like the brightest guy. Sometimes they depict those like the big strong ones or the dumb stupid ones, because obviously, like, why would you ask a couple kids, like where something is? I don't know, but either way, and Mina was able to jump in, give him what he wanted. Granted, yes, she didn't defeat the villain. It wasn't her place to. It would have actually been, if she used her quirk to hurt a villain, it would have been against the rules. And as we saw, they were younger at this time, and their quirks weren't even as good as they could have been. Like, Kirishima was only able to do, like, a little bit on his arms and, like, a tiny bit on his head we saw back then. Which is interesting. He improved a lot before he went to UA, because I'm pretty sure he was like punching through robots in the entrance exams and stuff like that too. So he was able to at least do like a full fist by the time the show started and stuff like that. But yeah. So either way, if you're not a licensed hero, you can't be fighting villains. So she deterred him and told him the hero agency. I'm a little curious of what happened next. Maybe the heroes managed to apprehend him, or like, what if that guy just walked off and like killed everybody in that hero agency? I don't know. It's just kind of funny to think about, but it's something we're never gonna hear about, I'm sure. I mean, unless we get like Mina focused episode and we find out that something did happen and it like shaked her confidence too. Like, this same encounter had two different effects, he was inspired and she was like traumatized by it a bit, and that would be an interesting thing to have in the future, but I don't know if we're ever gonna see that. Probably not, but yeah. And then I don't know what that bit was when they met at the school. He changed his hair, kind of like getting a fresh look for a fresh Kirishima, his new outlook, his new motivations, his new goals, and a new look to go along with that to kind of match and look like his hero, the Crimson, what was it, like Crimson Riot or whatever it was. And that's just really cool. But she said something along the lines of like, when you're able to put this in the past, come talk to me, and I'll tell you something or other. I kind of want to go back. Excuse me, sorry. Where was that? It was pretty far in. Yeah, I'm saying goodbye to pathetic me. I just want to reread what she says real fast, because I was able to find this. For you, what happened that day was tough, huh? Yep, okay. Man, I'm still stuffy from, like, crying and shit before. Don't get too eager, she says. Once you get over it completely within yourself, let me know, okay? Yep, I read that bit. And then this next one moved kind of fast. I'll tell everyone you're trying to look cool for high school. Okay. Interesting. Was that translated weird? What did I miss there? Like, why don't I understand? Maybe once you get over the fact that you changed your hair, you can come talk to me and I'll let everyone know you were trying to be cool. But what? I'm a little bit confused at that part. If any of you guys, like, understand what I missed, or maybe when I watch the reaction that I usually watch of these guys watching it in dubbed, maybe I'll understand it a little bit better. I'm not sure. But, like, I think I might get it. But I'm also a little bit like, when I analyze it, I'm like, what does she really mean? You know, like, I don't know. Sorry. I guess I'm not the brightest bulb. But yeah, the man, I really love the moment where, I mean, it was definitely like super convenient, you know, for him, something that he saw for him to remember. But that's what My Hero does, you know, they have these flashbacks to memories of them hearing something that applies directly to their situation, you know. Like, so he had this flashback to the like the Crimson Riot, who was doing an interview, and they, you know, asked if he ever gets scared, and they talk about how he is scared, tells a story about, you know, how he was a sidekick, kind of like Hiroshima, how, you know, someone was like dying right in front of him and he was scared, but what's more scary is, you know, some, like, actually seeing someone take their last breath and stuff. It was all fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Like I said, a little bit plot convenient, but it's always been like that, you know. That's just My Hero, you know. Same with, like, the sports festival fight with Todoroki, looking back and remembering when he saw on TV, like, All Might talking about how, like, your quirk is, you know, yours, and you don't have to worry about, like, who you inherited it from and stuff like that, and all that. And he just remembered, like, something like that conveniently at that moment during that fight, you know, when Midoriya was, like, triggering memories in him. Which, it is true, like, when you're doing stuff in your life, you trigger memories of stuff you've done in your past, so it's not unrealistic. So, I mean, I guess I shouldn't even, like, I'm completely fine with it. I'm sorry if I came off like I didn't like it. Like, honestly, that happens to me all the time, is when I'm suddenly doing something and I'm remembered of something in my past, and it, like, you know, it doesn't have to motivate me, you know, it's not always something motivating, but it's just, you know, things trigger different memories that you thought you forgot, you know? So, yeah, that's fine. um, but it was a great moment. I really love that moment with the Crimson Hero and remembering all that and all that. So that was really cool. But yeah, and friggin' Fat Gum, like, if we talk about him for a little bit instead of just Kirishima, Fat Gum took so many hits and he was, like, bleeding and everything, but he had a part of his quirk that we did not know, and that is so crazy strong. Is that not only is he able to absorb things, so he's, you know, a great shield, as they called him in this episode, he's able to take, like, the kinetic force of the blast that he has taken, store them all up, and blast them back, and that was a strong hit. And he even said that too much of his fat was worn away, in that this isn't gonna be an accurate output of everything he absorbed, you know? So this wasn't even as strong as it, like, possibly could have been if he was able to absorb more, you know? So that's crazy! Oh man, like, Fat Gum, but friggin' Kirishima jumping in, like, because even Fat Gum was saying he was having a hard time getting this attack off because Rabba was just getting these relentless attacks off, and he just Fat Gum couldn't get the attack in. He couldn't build it up because it seemed like he needed to like kind of stop for a second, build it up, and all his fat went away. So I'm guessing while he's doing that attack, I'm guessing that's his weakest state. I'm guessing he doesn't have any absorption when he's in that mode. I could be wrong, but, you know, he might be completely defenseless. So Kirishima jumped in at the perfect time to, you know, block all the attacks and give Fat Gum the opening he needed to get that attack off, which was fantastic. And Kirishima, like, I questioned during the episode how he's doing it, but like I said, I guess he's just rebuilding his skin over and over again to like handle those hits. What is he? Let's see what he says here. I won't regret anything again. Ugh. Yes, a hero who can protect him is watching it again. If it cracks, then harden it again. Okay, so maybe it's not completely falling off. Okay. Sacrifice yourself. Damn. I wonder if Kirishima would have won without that barrier coming up. You know? Like, would he have? But yeah, so, because I just got to the point where he punched the barrier, and I don't know why I forgot about that, but I called that, well, I didn't call it, but I was like, will he really not intervene at some point during the reaction when Raba said that he wouldn't use his shield? Because that's a very villain thing to do, is right before the hero is about to win, him, like, you know, another villain intervene and, you know, ruin what, you know, Raba's trying to have a one-on-one fight, probably not the best intentions. He's probably not trying to be, like, honorable, right? He's probably just, he just wants to fight, he wants to be the strongest, you know, and he just wants a good fight. He's one of those characters, so, you know, he's pissed about that being interrupted for him, but yeah, so Kirishima can just re-harden the cracks that form as they appear, because his skin didn't fall off right away before, so maybe he's able to kind of, like, mend the cracks, you know? Maybe if he, you know, gets punched and a big chunk is, like, close to falling off, if he, like, releases his hardening and lets that, like, flop down, kind of gross sounding, flop down onto his arm, and then re-harden it, maybe he's able to, like, connect it all back together or something, you know? Or maybe it's just little cracks that he's fixing, but whatever he was doing, he was able to withstand that many punches when he got blown away by just like a few in the first bit. So another evolution of Kirishima, the very hard man. But man, that was such a good episode. I'm so happy for Kirishima. Like, it was very sad what he went through and the fear and everything, but I think he's gonna come out just so much stronger after this whole work study bit that he's been going through, which is gonna be really cool. And I absolutely love getting, like, you know, more character stuff. Like, as much as I'm hyped for, you know, the possibility that we may get Midoriya fighting something at some point, you know, as much as I'm hyped to see him go at, like, 8% like he did against Bakugo, and, like, see possibly, like, another muscular situation, like, the intensity of that fight and amazingness of it, I'm loving all these little fights that we're getting on the way, and I'm very glad we've slowed down to giving, like, you know, sectioning this off to, like, the various different characters. But we now have 4 bullets down and 4 bullets left, so, no. We have 5 bullets down, Amajiki took down 3, and now this is 2 more, so there's 3 bullets left. Man, I wonder if, like, Midoriya might not even go up against a bullet, you know, they might be saving him for Overhaul when they catch up to him. if they catch up to him. I don't know how all that's gonna go, but man, damn. Oh, that was such a good episode. I think that's really all I have to say, but man, that was such a good episode. Whew, God. There wasn't like, yeah, that was just credits like shortly after they beat the shit out of him. Oh, that was a cool moment. I was just skimming through the episode again with Kirishima learning when he was younger when his quirk manifested. He cut his eye because I guess he didn't realize his quirk manifested and he like wiped his brow or something and got a cut there, and that's what that scar's from. So that's really cool that they showed that. And they even, it's kind of cool because they didn't mention and like zoom in on the scar and be like, this is where I got this scar, you know? It's just something you kind of notice. And not that it's very hard to notice, but I think it was a few episodes ago I mentioned seeing that scar and not seeing it before. You know, maybe during his other episode where he showed us the unbreakable form. I think that might have been the one where I noticed the scar and I never noticed it before. I'm sure it's been there. Um, you know, in the past, but for some reason I just never saw it. And and then I'm kind of glad I did notice it then, because then it paid off when we got that moment where he, you know, it showed where he got it. So that was really cool too. Red White episode title, yeah. It's Boroshi's Guns or Blades in a fight. I was trying to see if I could find what this guy uses for a quirk. Yes, he's just all about strength. Yeah, I don't know. It might not have said his quirk. Yeah, I can't find it if they did say it, so apologies if I did miss it. I'll see it during editing, and I'll know for the future if it even matters now that he's been smeared into a wall. But yeah, guys, that episode was fantastic. I think that's really all I gotta say for this one. But oh man, I am hyped to see what happens next in this arc we get going on. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please hit that subscribe button. I very much appreciate it. And you can also check out the description where I have a link to my Patreon, where you can get access to full length, not early access, because I watch the show as it airs for you guys, so that way we can, you know, watch it together. I try to release it the day after it airs as well, so that way, you know, you guys can have it there for you. But yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you guys next week for another episode of My Hero. Hopefully another fantastic one, which I'm sure it will be because this show is great. Oh, I can't wait. Alrighty, guys. See you next time.